How's it going, guys? I hope you are doing well. In this video, I wanted to talk about a few debuffs that I find either outright useless or very situational and not helpful compared to other things you can do. So buckle in and get ready for my opinion on a few debuffs that I think are just utterly useless. This isn't the best format, I'm just kind of in the item shop and I'm just going to hover over what's there. But anyway, as you can see right at the start, I'm going to talk about Spoil Heal. Now, I find the Heal Craft, which is the exact opposite of this, to be quite useful. But I find Spoil Heal, if you're going to go up to a Cleric or any kind of unit that heals, and you're going to take the time to put Spoil Heal on them, unless it's attached to like some type of weapon or an attack, which I don't even know if you can get it attached to a weapon or an attack. I've never seen it. What's the point? You're going to waste a turn, you're going to debuff the Cleric, and you know how much you debuff them for? It's around 30-ish, maybe give or take like 5 or 10 either way, healing. So instead of that Cleric healing for 250, they're going to heal for 220. Not 30%, 30 hit points. And if you are that worried about saving 30 hit points on your units, you got some problems. You got something going on, because like there's no reason that you need to reduce a healing unit's ability to heal their units against you by a measly 30 points, maybe 40, maybe 50. It's like it's very insignificant in the grand scheme. And like I said, you got to waste a turn to apply it. So I find Spoil Heal to be the worst, if not one of the worst. And these other ones are all going to be accuracy related, because as you know, accuracy in the game isn't as useful as one would lead to believe. So we're going to start off with Misstep and Stagger. Those are two that I find to be... The buffs are good, but the debuffs... So realistically, when you apply Misstep or Stagger, when you try to reduce an enemy's chance to dodge your attacks, it's like 15-20% chance that it'll, like, reduction, 15 to 20% reduction. And the same thing goes kind of with the buffs. The buffs are like 15-20%, somewhere in there. I don't have the exact number. And, when you lower an enemy's chance to avoid you down to 80%, when, let's be honest, I mostly hit most of the time, unless I'm casting some kind of debuff that has a lower percent chance. Like, my percent chance to hit's generally like 90 plus, 95 plus. So I find no reason to lower the enemy's chance to either sidestep or, dodge my attacks. Now, on the other hand, if you were to use the buffs, sidestep and dodge, you could argue against certain bosses or certain hard-hitting units that can be beneficial, which, it could. I find the buffs to be a lot better than buffing my own unit's evasion, to me, is a lot better than buffing the enemy units, debuffing the enemy unit's evasion. And two other ones that are kind of, I want to keep this video short and sweet, two other ones that I find are pretty pointless, maybe kind of useful: False Strike and False Flight. False Flight is more useless than False Strike. So False Flight's gonna affect ranged attacks. Now, like, you got archers and stuff, which are fine and dandy, but I mean, you get to a point in the game where enemy archers really, they just kind of tickle you, like they if they get to shoot like your casters or your squishies, maybe you feel a little bit of pain getting hit for like 150 or something, but most of your frontline and other units, you're getting hit for sub 100, sub 50 damage. Even late game, at best like 150, and then maybe 200 on the squishies if they're doing like, their skills and stuff, like that buff some of their attacks and back attack and all that. But I find this to go out you got to have it on your weapon. You're not usually going to use items like this unless you have like a lobber. I'm just looking at these for reference, just to show you kind of something on the screen. False Strike is all right, and False Flight is not alright. Like, False Strike can be useful. There are weapons that have it. If I'm in melee combat and I'm hitting an enemy and it's on the weapon and I proc it, it's useful because the enemy has a hard time returning counter attacks, attacking me back. So I can see False Strike being slightly more useful than all these other ones I've mentioned, even though it's kind of still on the questionable side. Where False Flight, it's just, you gotta go out of your way, and I don't know, are there bows that have False Flight on them? I mean, like I said, I pay so little attention to it, I don't even look for it. I look for more powerful debuffs on my gear. I don't really... And if I'm forced to use a gear with a minor debuff like one of these or something, I probably don't even pay any heed to it. So I just wanted to say those are the 4-ish debuffs that I find are useless for the most part. False Flight, Stagger, Misstep, Spoil Heal, and a little bit of False Strike is kind of junky in a way. But I don't know. What do you think? Am I crazy? Do you guys use these a lot? Are you like using all the accuracy debuffs and Spoil Heal, and are you pounding them out? Are they super successful for your battles? Let me know, because I rarely use them. I tried to use them at the beginning of the game, and I was like, oh, these are kind of interesting. And then I realized how little impact they have, so I didn't really use them. So that's about it for me, guys. Let me know what you think down below. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Until then, later, guys. Peace.